Okay, with that, we're going to jump into the code with the practicum section. So the first section or series of steps rather of this workflow is going to be preparing the Landsat imagery that we're going to be using. And so the goal here is to ensure that each pixel records the same type of measurement at the same location over time. We're going to be pulling a Landsat 8 collection, filtering it over a series of time and space metadata properties, and also sorting it on a property to get the exact pre and post image that we would like for the analysis. And I'm just going to escape out of here. And if you have the book repo open in code editor, feel free to do that, or you can click this link in the slide. We're going to go to code checkpoint F4.4. And I hope that this is big enough. We did a pre-QA. Okay, so here we are at the beginning of F4.4. We are first going to be assigning a variable to the Landsat 8 collection to image collection. And then here we are also going to be using the select method that takes a series of arguments. In this case, we are going to use the first argument being the actual bands that you want to select. And then optionally, you can provide another list of the same length as the bands that you're selecting to essentially rename each band in the collection as it's returned to you on the client side. Okay. Next, we are selecting a point over, I believe, Southwest Oregon. And then we use the map.centerObject function to center our map pane over the point at a certain zoom scale, which goes from 1 to 24, with 24 being the highest zoom scale. Okay. And then I'm actually going to comment out some of the stuff that we will be going back to the slides for first. So this is just what we're looking at right now. So now we want to make this pre and post image objects. As we said before, we're going to be doing some filtering and some sorting. Okay, so the first thing that we want to do is we use filter bounds. So we are filtering the entire Landsat 8 collection over this point. And so the only Landsat scenes that are returned to you are images that have some level of overlap with that sort of latitude, longitude point that you define. Next, this is the important step, especially for the pre and post, since we're doing a change detection of 2 different time periods. We need to constrain the image collection to a certain point in time for pre and post. And so for the pre-image, we're looking at between June 1st and June 30th of 2013. And for the post image, we are looking at the same time period within the month for 7 years later. So the same month, different year. For both of these, then we want to actually sort the collection. True means ascending, false. If you provided false, it would sort it descending by this property. And the property is called cloud cover. It's something that is provided by the Landsat processing team before the data is essentially ingested into Earth Engine. Okay, and then the last thing that we do for both of these is we retrieve the first element. In this case, since it's an image collection, we retrieve the first image in that filtered and sorted image collection. And the idea here, as we'll see, it's always nice to print stuff as you go. When I hit run here, first of all, I know that it's going to zoom in to the point at zoom level 11. And I just printed pre-image, and you will see here that the first image from that image collection sorting algorithm that we provided is returned to us. If you're not familiar with the sort of syntax of the IDs of imagery for Landsat, what we're looking at is Landsat 8. This is the scene ID, so path and row. And then this is the interesting part. So we know that the acquisition day for this image is June 1st, 2013. And if we were to print post image, we would see the same thing. We would see that it's the same scene. So that's good, right? So it's overlapping exactly. And this time it is June 4th, 2020. Some other interesting things that we can see is that the select function worked up here. So now we have bands called blue, green, red, near infrared, square 1, square 2, instead of these names. And also, if you're curious, one last thing we can look at is this is the property that we sorted ascending the collection on. So essentially, the idea is we want the image within this month of this year with the least amount of cloud cover. Okay, so that is that. Let's go back to the slides. Move on to the next slide.